the cloud, and you should be getting some kind of a thing that asks if it's okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, good. All right. So then I got it here. I'm going to try and do a screen share. Let's see if you can see my screen. And there it goes. So hopefully you can see the screen. And
Yeah, we can see it.
good. What I'm going to do here, I have to try and hide the floating meeting controls. And now it's good. All right. So we had a homework due yesterday, homework 11. Any questions about homework 11?
No.
Okay. All right. Good. And then next week, we've got our last homework. Yay, last homework due. And that's homework 12 on JDBC and servlets. So what happens here is kind of a mashup of technologies. What we're attempting to do with JDBC is add a tier to a multi-tier server system. So we got the client tier, and that's clear. That's our HTML based browser. Then we have our second tier. This is our server, and it's usually something running an HTTP daemon, hypertext transfer protocol daemon, which is a background task running in some sort of a Unix system. So here's a typical example. I'll SSH over to Neptune, which is a Raspberry Pi that I have local to me. And then what we'll do is we'll look at PS AUX and pipe it into a grep on HTTP and see what we got. And we got nothing. Well, that's nice. Let's see, we'll just do a more. There should be something running in the background on the, you can see there's an SSH daemon. It's probably got a different name. I'm not quite sure what it would be. Let's try a different type of server. I'll go to Amazon Web Services 3, which is a Ubuntu server. And now we'll do PSAUX, which was going to give us the jobs that are running in the background that are detached. And we'll put it into a grep on HTTPD. And there it is, I think. This is a process that's running in the background under Ubuntu. And what it's doing is it's serving up web content. And there it is. This is the web content that it serves. So docjava.com is running on an AWS server. And what we're doing when we try to create dynamic content is we try to do things like, let's see if we got anything in here. Yeah, we try to generate data dynamically that can be pumped out to HTML. And one of the ways in which you can do that is through what's known as a servlet. So servlets are a framework which enable you to engage in what's known as a stop and wait protocol. So you go and you get some sort of a file with arguments, and then it processes the arguments and uses them. And while it's doing the processing, you stop and wait. Throughput goes to 0. Then it formulates an answer in HTML and pumps the answer out to your browser for the browser to render. Now the data comes from yet another tier, and that other tier is the relational database management system, which is known as Oracle or MySQL, or perhaps it would be, I forget what they're calling it for. Oh, Postgres, that's another one. All of these relational database management systems have a singular interface from Java known as Java Database Connectivity, JDBC. So JDBC is used by the servlets to query the database, do processing, and then generate some sort of dynamic HTML output. So when you're doing HTML web design with dynamic HTML, it turns out you are able to get behaviors that are not necessarily based in static HTML text. So for example, over in here, I got Neptune Sendy. Sendy is now a program that runs in on the Raspberry Pi, and that enables me to send emails out to a group. And so I just sent, I don't know, 6,000 emails a day ago using the Sendy system. And so it's giving me services that I wouldn't otherwise be able to obtain, sending out large numbers of emails. So that's kind of neat. And these are the sorts of things you would expect. And you can view all the lists, you can manage the lists. Here's paid members for the Inventors Association of Connecticut. And you can see it's approaching 3,000 over in here. And you can unsubscribe, you can see the emails, you can do all these interesting things. So that's why people are using databases with servlets. So the servlet might query a database that contains all of the email addresses and the people's names and that sort of thing. And then the servlets provide a value add. So I have a little video here on SQLite, where SQLite is I would call it a relational database management system that's really good for playing around with JDBC. So if what you're trying to do in the world of Java is come up with your own relational database management system just for learning, then SQLite's a great way to go. Because if all you want to do is learning, this will give you the look and feel of a real relational database management system, even though it can't handle what I would call industrial grade databases. So once you learn about that framework, you'll have to add it to IntelliJ if you want to program with it. So you'll look at the video here on how to add a servlet to IntelliJ so you can gain access to the framework. And this jar file has that framework in it. So it's a library of pre-compiled bytecodes is what it is. And you get 3 attempts here. And let me just make sure that this thing is due appropriately. I just want to make sure you have, yeah, actually you have 2 attempts. And it's not timed, and it's due on the 26th. Now, the way things are going, I think that's going to be our last homework. Yay, last homework. Then what we'll do is we'll have a final, and the final will be due on the 10th. And the last day of class is, well, for us anyway, technically the last day of the semester is May 1st. But for us, the last day of class is going to be Thursday next. I'm going to be on travel, but I do plan to be here, and I should be able to return in time to conduct the class. If I can't, I'll send an email and let you guys know. But my plan is to do it. We'll do our last class just to try and review for the final. And before I get to that, I just wanted to kind of go through the process here. So when you're loading something like the MySQL driver, you do what's known as a class for name. What that does is it signals to the loader, the class loader, that you're dynamically attempting to load a fully qualified class name. So this com.mysql.jdbc.driver is loading a class name driver in the com.mysql.jdbc package. And if it can load it, it will not get a class not found exception at runtime. And then your MySQL driver will be resident in the memory space of the Java virtual machine. And you need that if you're going to try and use MySQL. And MySQL happens to be one of the famous relational database management systems available in Unix. MySQL, well, Maybe you're not running here, huh? Let's try a different one. Let's try this machine here. It may not be running here at all. I don't remember the password, so I'll have to go and look that up at some other time. But in any case, there are a bunch of different MySQL commands, and once you want to learn MySQL, you can read the manuals on it if you're interested. And you can learn how to install MySQL by Googling. Typically, you'll do something like this. You'll say, I don't know, install MySQL on Ubuntu. And then you can read the directions on how to install it in case you want it. You may not have Ubuntu, you might have, I don't know, Windows or something else. Well, MySQL is available for it. So then what you'll do is once you have your relational database management system running, you'll be able to connect to it using port 3306. So port 3306 is the common port for relational database management systems, but they don't always listen to it. You might have it listen to it, but in fact, somebody might hack you if they know. They can scan your IP address for that port. They find it, they can play guess a password, get in, and hack your SQL database. And that's no good. Let's see, what else do we need to know? So SQL commands can be executed within Java using the so-called Java JDBC interface. And ODBC, Open Database Connectivity Package, is the Windows answer to get into SQL Server, which is the Microsoft version of the Oracle Relational Database Management System. So the interface between JDBC and SQL Server is ODBC, which can be installed as a separate driver in Windows. So if you're interested in using Windows, I think some of you have it, you can install ODBC and then you can import the ODBC JDBC driver and then proceed to do your programming that way. And when you look at page 450 in Java for Programmers, you'll see how that works. Let's see now, what else do we need to know? So the three-tier system, three tiers are the client, the server, which runs servlets, and then the relational database management system backend. And all three of these things can run on three different machines. Once you read the chapter on servlets, you'll realize there is a class that's kind of critical to the operation of the servlets, and it's called the HTTP servlet. And this is a very important part of the framework for doing servlets, because you can call things like do get, and then you pass in parameters, and the HTTP servlet will receive those parameters and will allow you to execute based on the parameters. They come in as strings, you'll parse them, and then you'll use them to do stuff. So here's an example of a do get method being invoked. I will go to Yahoo and give it the argument SSSS. That argument is passed to the servlet, and now you can see sudo capital SSSS. If I modify the URL to AAPL and hit enter, then it should in theory be able to go out and give me access to Apple eventually. I don't know why it's so slow. It's just slow. So that's that. Oh, I know how to do that. Let's see. Let's go back. We'll go in to here. We'll edit the bookmark, and we'll put in a different argument, AAPL. Hit save. Now click. Oh, he really is just slow. Let's hit it again. Well, I'm not getting good response from the internet at all here. Yeah, it's working. There. So now you can see what has happened. If you go in and you edit the URL, you can see that Apple was used as an argument. I could try it with IBM, I suppose. Hit save. Hit dar. He's just taking a long time to render. But he did eventually work. So that's how you pass arguments into the do-get method. And that comes back as a parameter inside of your Java program. Other things you can do to maintain state is you can use cookies. And a lot of times people will use cookies and they'll save those cookies so the next time you come by, they'll know you were there from before and you can log right on in. So that's the long and short of it. There's also these things called Java Server Programs, JSPs, and they look just like Java programs, only they have dynamic HTML embedded in them. And they are working like macros that get interpreted at visit time. So when you go to visit these things, it'll be something like some file name .jsp. It will actually, if it's the first time, compile that Java program with the macros. And that can give you a lot of bugs if you have problems in your JSPs. And this is the first time somebody has visited the program. So you have to do extensive testing when you use Java server pages. And there's a chapter on that as well. That'll give you dynamic content. Let's see now, what else do we need to know? Common Gateway Interface is what people used to use for things like Visual Basic and Perl scripts and that sort of thing, Python. And it gives you access to all of the parameters that are coming in from the browser when somebody does a do-get. So that's that. It's how things started. And if you wanted to, you could actually look at the protocol for Common Gateway Interface, and you should be able to get a lot of information about it. It's almost as old as HTML itself. And so when I first remember the first HTML 1.0 specification, I think it came out in 93 or 94. And I read it all the way through. And these are the sorts of things that you can use in order to communicate as a browser to the server. So you can identify yourself as a browser. And in fact, if you write a Java program to data mine, you need to identify yourself as a browser, or else it thinks you're just data mining and stealing all their data. So Yahoo has become very sensitive to that sort of thing. So there it is. Now you've got some information about 2-tier and 3-tier services. You got any questions about homework 12? You guys still there?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Cool.
I haven't, no.
Cool. So then the next thing we want to worry about, and this is the last piece of the homework of the course you need to worry about, and that's called the final. And now if we take a look at the final, and I'll try and talk a little bit more about this next Thursday. How big is this final? Well, now let's see. Final, edit the final. 73 questions with 100 points. So this is big. A lot of the questions are true, false, or multiple choice. I don't think there's any right code type questions. It's all going to give you feedback right away. Let me just check to make sure you have 2 attempts, because I think that's important. You want to get some kind of feedback there, just in case things don't go right the first time. And there shouldn't be any time limits on the final. And it's open book, open notes, and we'll make it due on the 10th. I may have said the 17th in the past, but that's way after the semester is over. So that doesn't work. I'd love to have it due on the 17th. Can't have it. So we'll have it due on the 10th. You got 2 attempts. There's not supposed to be any, no timer, no auto submit, due on the 10th, end of day. Don't wait till the end. This is one of those things that's kind of long. You can open it up. You don't have to finish it or even start it. You can look at it, print it, play with it, touch it, whatever you like. And it's long. So I'm not going to go over it in too much detail now because so giving you score per questions, all the answers, and the submits and feedback. So that should be enough to get you a good grade on this thing, I think. You'll be able to see it all at once. And you'll have 2 attempts, and you'll have the highest grade of the 2 attempts. Let me just make sure that's right. I'm just going to check the settings on this one more time. You're grading highest grade. No forced completion here, so be sure to hit submit once you're done. And no timer, no time limit. Take as long as you like. It's a long test. And we'll discuss it a little bit more on Thursday next, but we should be able to take a quick look at it now. So let's edit the test and just see. So there's JDBC. It's the same question as before. This is a mashup of prior homeworks. Common Gateway Interface, cookies, sessions. Let's see now. A couple of coding questions. Remote method invocation. We've had some homeworks on that. What you're seeing here is a mashup of prior homeworks. So that should help you feel comfortable with this. I hope you feel comfortable with it. Let me see if I can't just sort of scan through. So you've seen a lot of these types of questions before about queuing theory and some of the framework questions I think you've seen. Threading you've seen before, bit error rate stuff you've seen before. So I think you've got a really good background now because you've seen a lot of this stuff before. So that my hope is that you don't find it too overwhelming. You guys have any questions for me about how to finish up the course?
No, pretty much we just take the final, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got two basic assignments left. You got your homework 12, which is due next week, and you due on Wednesday, and you got your final, which is due on the 10th, end of day, and that's it, and then you're done.
Cool.
And right now,
Are we allowed to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we allowed to start the final, and then ask you questions next class, or are you not allowed to answer questions about the final?
I would be very happy to answer questions at the next class. In fact, instead of starting the final, you could just open it, look at the final, and decide which questions you'd like me to cover that you feel are challenging. And I shall do my best. I think the time to ask questions is in class, because if people aren't going to come to the class and I answer the questions, it's not a level playing field. So I would like to encourage people to come to class. Anyone who's watching this recording, if you have questions about the final, come to class and ask the questions in class. I think that's best. And I will answer any questions that I can. What about questions about homework 12? Any questions?
No, I got a 93 on it. I got a pretty good grasp on it.
Cool. That's a great grade. All right then. Selena, are you all set? I don't hear from you.
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you.
Good. All right. So then I was just looking at this. Oh yeah, we have a PDF file for creating an Oracle server if you want to do stuff like that. I know some of you will be interested in making your own relational database management system at some point in your careers, maybe even now. I don't know. But if you are and you want to try your hand at doing this sort of thing, it's really fun and you can learn a lot by doing it. But it's certainly not a requirement for the course. And I don't expect you to do it yourself unless you feel like you want to, and that would be a fine thing as far as I'm concerned. I could even try and help you if you want to ask questions, especially during class. So there's that. If there are no other questions, I think I'm going to let you guys go. You got any questions for me?
No, sir.
Good, thank
Celine?
you.
All right then. Well, have a good evening, everyone. And thank you for
You
your
as well.
attention. All righty.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.